welcome to the show, a Pacific Northwest celebrity. I have Casey Mack joining the show. Casey is joining us from Mack Provisions. Casey, what's up? Welcome to the show.
What's going on? I wouldn't say celebrity, but I appreciate it.
Well, not many people have been on Evening Magazine interviewed by Jim Dever, have they?
No, that's a good point, but that was a fun interview, and I still get lots of people going to my website because of it. So,
for those of you who don't know Casey, he owns Mack Provisions, which is a really awesome company that specializes in repurposing old baseball gloves. Oh, there you
go.
The prop was ready. Did you just walk around always with a mitt around you?
Yeah, my fiance makes fun of me because I always have one. She calls it my teddy bear. So I always have a mitt inside on the couch, to cuddle. And this one's I don't know if you can see, that's a Hank Aaron model, which he just passed. So anytime I can find a Hank Aaron glove, so I always nab them.
Well, before we dive into the business, because it's one, as a kid growing up, I played Little League all through childhood. Great passion of mine as well. But before we get into the business, I'm going to ask a couple questions about you so the viewers can get to know you a little bit. So a couple basic questions I like to ask everyone. 4th of July barbecue, you're in line. What are you going with, hot dog or hamburger?
Both.
No. A man after my own heart, but you only get one. It's like your ticket's worth one. What are you getting?
Definitely burger.
Definitely the burger. Okay.
But if there's, a plan B, there would be, both ready to go.
Well, my son is a huge burger fan. So any local burger joints on the Peninsula, Port Angeles area that you would say is your number one go-to?
Frugals for sure. I mean, it's just down the road from where we live. So anytime, I think like tonight, Lindsay works late and we're going to get Frugals. So we're excited for that.
I love that, the bacon blue cheeseburger that they do there.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. If you're a blue cheese fan, I'm a blue cheese fan, and I definitely get that. So.
Next one. We all kill a little time. We ashamed to admit how much we watch YouTube TV, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, whatever. What's a show or guilty pleasure that you and your fiance enjoy together?
Okay, this may be a little embarrassing, but we watch a show called 90 Day Fiance. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
I have.
It's hilarious. And there's a guy on right now from Squim, which is super interesting to see them kind of in our area, filming. So that's kind of our show we go to every week. So
yeah, my wife saw something on Facebook that said like this. We don't really watch it, but they're like the next episode they're featured in Tedesco's, and we go there a lot. So she's like, we had to find the episode to fast forward.
They were there. It's crazy to see them driving around, Squim. It's just crazy to see them there. So we watch it anyways. But then when we were saw that somebody from Squim was going to be there, we tune in every week to watch.
Okay, and my last question, normally I ask something about travel, but I want to ask something very baseball specific because I love baseball growing up. What is the weirdest? Baseball's got a lot of history and pastime, and that's part of your business, so we're leading into that. But there's a ton of weird phrases, ducks on the pond and all these different things. What's one of those phrases that you think is just like so funny or just bizarre, or a baseball phrase? Because I've got mine that I want to ask you about, but what's yours?
Yeah, their baseball terminology is super interesting. I have a bunch of vintage pamphlets that have baseball lingo in it from like the 50s and 60s. And a term that's still used today is a can of corn, which is just like a pop fly, easy pop fly. It's the weirdest saying. Why would you say that is a can of corn? I don't know. It's one of the coolest ones. So
you actually stole mine. That was the one I was like, I had mine spring loaded, ready to go. I actually looked it up before getting on the show. And it basically came back to like the 1800s, not early 1900s. At least the mythology is how they were able to get cans of corn off of tall grocery store. Came from like grocers, and how they pop them off like with a hook and have to catch something from up high.
So I did not know that actually, but it totally makes sense. Just a perfect catch like that. Yeah.
So I have just educated the local baseball historian. Look at me.
There you go. I had no idea. So that's cool. Yeah, but baseball has all this lingo, and you can spend hours looking up some of the stuff. And it's really cool to see some of the older terms that have disappeared. I don't have any off the top of my head right now, but there's stuff out there that people don't use anymore. So it's kind of cool to see what's still in use and not. So
well, it's just like you said, it's just a weird thing. But I wanted to highlight the business a little bit here.
There you are. There's me.
Look at this guy working with those hands on that butter soft leather. So talk to me about, I've got a little gallery here. This is the company, Mack Provisions. How did it get started? Talk about a little bit what you do. I'm going to pepper some questions, but I mean, as you can see, you're making handmade leather goods with old baseball gloves. It's a pretty unique thing you started.
Yeah, you grabbed a good photo right there. So that's me on my stitching pony putting a wallet together. So everything is traditional saddle stitch, which is basically, it means you've got 2 needles, 1 thread, and you're passing needles through the same hole. So it's the most traditional way to do leather work. And I wouldn't do it any other way. Some people use machines, and I'm certainly at the point as far as volume where I could probably, benefit from a sewing machine, but I remain true to that handmade, hand cut, hand stitched, everything. So, I played baseball from very young age to up until college. I played college ball. Once I left the game, I was kind of burnt out. And a couple years after baseball, I started missing it. I was like, oh man, I should try to get myself back into it. And I saw an article on how to make wallets, and I thought, wow, that'd be cool to kind of mix the two. And I had a bunch of gloves that are kind of like this, that are old and falling apart. Anytime that you see like this has got some cracked leather in the pocket and stuff, for me, that says it's not usable anymore. And what kid out there is going to use this glove? So I thought it'd be cool to take old gloves that, aren't really being used today and make it into something usable. And naturally a wallet was I think the best route.
So you had no experience sewing or working with leather or anything. You just kind of saw this, had the idea and jumped in, or was there any past experience?
I used to restring gloves, so that was my extent of leather work. When I used to do this as a part-time, side hustle, and before then I worked at a custom sew shop. So I, worked at a company called Alaska Tent Tarp, and I learned a lot on how to design and seam allowances and, just basic terminologies for the sewing and manufacturing field. So I got the little bit of experience there and kind of put it into my own business. So
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, but yes, YouTube taught basically. I mean, it's, I didn't know anybody or nobody showed me how to do it. I would have loved that. So yeah, YouTube taught. So
this is obviously, without having anything automated, it's got to be pretty time consuming. Can you talk about the time that goes into producing some of your products?
Yeah, when I first got into it, it used to take me hours and hours, but now I could probably gut a glove blindfolded. I don't know if you can see, there's a seam right there.
Yeah. I
have a special blade that cuts all around this, and I could probably gut a glove 20 minutes maybe max. And then the process of cleaning the leather and getting it prepped for a wallet takes some time, and then hand stitching obviously takes some time too. So yeah, there's a lot of time that goes into every item. But there are worse ways to spend your time, so I gladly do it this way.
Now, are you filling a stockpile? Do people ship you their old gloves? If someone's interested in getting one, what do we got here?
Yeah, I've got about, I'd say right now, post-Christmas, I'm pretty low and I'm rebuilding my stock, but I have about 200 mitts in stock right now. So out in my workshop, I've got just a stack of mitts. And it's the cool thing about what I do. There's a couple of people who are in this line of work, taking old baseball mitts apart and making stuff out of them. But I'm the only one that upon your purchase, I send you a link you get to see all the gloves that I have in stock. I take pictures of every glove that comes into my shop. You pick your favorite. And so there's this, you pick a glove, unique process of you getting to see all the gloves, picking your favorite, and then me making your wallet out of it. So I have a virtual picking process, which is kind of fun for the customer to see it as a glove, and then they get to hold it at,
So it's it's a true custom made. I mean, these are obviously one of a kind, but they're having a hands-on experience that you're providing from A to B, A to Z, finishing it up.
Yeah, you get to, like this is right here. This is my ball hawk bifold. What you saw stitching in there. This is made from a 30s Joe Gordon wallet. And then on the inside, if somebody wants to put their initials, I will. And there's the logo. And like I said, everything's hand stitched, the whole process of from gut to finish, it's all hand done. So yeah.
It's a true labor of love. Now, I reached out to you when we first connected right around Christmas time. So that must have been, talk to me about what your holiday season looked like from Halloween on. Were you just in the shop 24/7?
It's rough. Even now, it's not slowed down. And I'll take it, thankfully. Yeah, Christmas time is real long hours. I'm definitely out there. There were times where I just wake up at 2:00 and I can't stop my mind and say, I need to get out there and work. It was rough. So I'd be working from like anywhere from most of the times from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then fall asleep. So that's how, and then redo it every day. So
it's the life of an entrepreneur, right? When you're running your own shop, there's no one else to leverage on it.
No. And people want their stuff before Christmas. And we had, with COVID too, it makes it kind of hard to, for like when I was shipping everything USPS, it would just take like weeks to get to people. It was crazy time. So, but yeah, I'm thankful to this year. I'm up like 200% from 2020. So it's crazy still. It's cool to be doing this for a living.
So the website is mackprovisions.com. Obviously, you got an active Facebook and Instagram as well for people to get a hold of you.
Right.
If people wanted to do true, like if they had their own glove, could they ship you their glove and go with it?
I get this question all the time. I will. I need to see pictures first of the glove. I get real nervous. There's times where I've taken in a glove, gotten it, and I'm like, oh, I can't do anything because it's too worn or too cracked, and the leather's just not like, the leather has to be good enough to be turned into a wallet, and not every glove is taken care of the right way. And so if the leather is good and there's no cracking and no signs of heavy wear on it, then I can turn it into a wallet. But yeah, I'll gladly do that. It's, if somebody doesn't want to use their glove anymore and they want to use it as a wallet, I'd rather do that than sit in the attic and eventually go to the landfill. So
yeah, I can tell you've got the passion for the material, which is, when people have it, you can see it.
Right.
One more question about your product.
Mm-hmm.
I know at one point in time, if people wanted to go see it, like you said, COVID, weird time and everything, but I think there was a stand on display at Jamestown, Java at the new hotel, right? So at the new 7-seaters hotel, if people want to go either just buy one off the rack or just see what you're dealing with, they can go there.
Yep. That's basically right now the only place. And they just restocked up. So they've got, I think a pretty good selection right now. So yeah, if you want to see things, Jamestown Java is the way to go at the casino. They're great people over there. They've been nothing but supportive of my brand, and Lindsay, my fiance, her artwork's there too. So they've really, helped us out big time by supporting our small businesses.
Oh, well, it's awesome to be able to not only, there's a lot of pressure on you, like you said, when you're shipping individual orders, USPS, and dealing with individual client, it's probably nice to have a couple wholesale clients, that you can, get your product out there and not have to deal with all of that actually, customer acquisition portion.
Right. Yeah. I'm in about, I'd say about 24 shops around the United States. I've got a huge distributor in Japan. So I'm about 6 shops in like the Tokyo area, which is kind of cool to have a representation over there. So baseball is huge in Japan. So
yeah,
it's cool to, have that relationship there. So yeah, I try to get as much wholesale orders. I'm in a few shops in Seattle. So There's a place called Asher Goods. I'm in Montana. East Coast, West Coast. I'm all over the place. So it's kind of cool to have.
Baseball's beloved everywhere, right? I mean, it's America's pastime.
It's our pastime. Yep.
What's the future look like, 2021 and beyond? Is there any plans of bringing on an apprentice so you're not out there at 2 a.m.? Or obviously, I think that seems like your heart and soul would go against any sort of machinery coming in to do it. But what's the future look like for Casey?
Yeah, I'd rather invest in a person and teaching him a craft rather than investing in a machine. So yeah, definitely my mind says no way for machine, but I would, yeah, having some help, or even a couple weeks ago, Lindsay's dad, uncle, and cousin came in and they helped me take apart like 30 gloves, which was a huge help. So if yeah, definitely, I definitely down the road see myself wanting to open up a retail space and definitely paying for help and stuff like that. So that's kind of where my mind's at right now. So we'll see. I mean, the business is growing. So if it gets to that point, I'll gladly take it on. So
yeah, that's awesome. So shout out to all you little leaguers out there right now. If you see this, or parents if you need to get your kid an hour of entertainment time, Casey will have them stripping gloves down, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You like that? I just volunteered a bunch of kids to be hollering at you.
I don't know if I want kids gutting gloves, but we'll see.
What, you don't want a bunch of 12-year-olds with sharp tools and you're in your workshop out there?
Not at all. Nope. Don't even want to go down that road.
All right. So last question before I let you go, and your 15 minutes of Clallam Corner fame will be up. We all did it as kids that played sports. There was the time in the backyard, you're either by yourself or with your friends, and it was 3-2 count. Bottom of the ninth. Who were you up to bat, or who were you pitching, or what was I know mine, but who were you?
Well, this may be the same as yours, but being, Pacific Northwest kids growing up in the 90s, the only person that you wanted to be was Griffey. So that was always the go-to, swing that you always tried to perfect. So Griffey was my guy. So
it was always Griffey, and for me, Sean Kemp on the basketball court, but it was always Griffey. And we had the cedar fence in my front yard, and I would bounce tennis balls and try to climb the wall, and I would have like splinters on my wrist from scraping on the wood fence all the time.
Trying to be like him. Yeah, it's so fun to think about, the early 2000s or the 90s Mariners when we were half decent. And we had all those players, like John Olerud, Dan Wilson, Freddie Garcia, like there's just a Brett Boone, that whole array of Ichiro, just that era of, baseball in Seattle was cool.
You can tell the 5 or 6 year difference between us, because I'm thinking like Buhner, Omar Vizquel, Tino Martinez. I was that little bit different when we were obsessed with sports.
I still remember, I was still young, but those whatever 95 and 96, the Mariners were so good.
Oh yeah.
When we had A-Rod and Griffey, batting back to back, and yeah. Jay Buhner was cool to watch. I mean, he's still active in the Pacific Northwest.
Can you believe they had the Buhner Buzz Nights? You remember they used to bring people in and they give them a free seat if they shave their head for the game?
Right. I remember seeing it as a kid living in, I grew up in Spokane, so we could never go to a game, but it was fun to watch all these crying kids as Buhner was giving them a number 0.
We're going to the free game, honey. I'm taking the kids with me.
Yeah. Those were good times. I don't remember a lot of the Kingdom, but I'm thinking with our 5-year gap, maybe you do, just because of that was.
I remember getting the frozen malt with the wood stick, going to the Kingdom to watch the baseball game. So,
oh man, I don't miss the Kingdom, that's for sure.
Well, awesome, man. I will link everything so people can get a hold of you. Check out his content. I mean, the gloves are amazing. The wallet stuff, the leather is so cool. So I have friends that have got these. So do yourself a favor and do Casey a favor. If you want one of these for a gift, give yourself some lead time, because if it's handmade, it's not going to be Amazon 2-day click and ship sort of thing. So if you're thinking Christmas, if you're thinking Father's Day, if you're thinking spring training is getting around the corner, do yourself and Casey a favor by getting in contact ASAP.
Right. Yeah, definitely. My lead times are are pretty far out. So it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get an order done, but it's part of the handmade process. Yeah.
No doubt. Well, hey, Casey, thank you for making the time with us today. And hopefully this gets some more eyes and more leather goods out in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, thanks for having me on. I love what you're doing and featuring everybody, in our area and showing there's a lot of cool people here out on the peninsula. So I appreciate you interviewing people and love what you're doing. So thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate it back at you. So we'll talk to you later, bud.
All right, man. See ya.
Later.